afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching this. I am your host, Victoria Nicole. I am the creator of this here confessional room. And today we have with us Donella. I got that right? Okay. Donella. We got Donella with us here today. She is a mother of a beautiful baby boy. He's not even one yet.
No.
He's not even one yet. So handsome little self.
Yeah.
She is a wife, a sister, an entrepreneur, and a creator of her own space. So Donella, go ahead and tell the people I know about you. You know, we've been in this circle for about, 3-4 years now?
Seems like longer than that, but yeah.
Pre-COVID, actually.
Yeah, it was before COVID.
So that was 2020, they say. I don't know when COVID started or ended.
Yeah, it was 2020.
Okay, so I'll say about 2018 when I relaunched Delaney's.
Wow, it's been that long.
Yeah, because you did a pop-up shop with me with your previous business.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's now the Cove though, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
The Cove Intimacy and Wellness.
The Cove Intimacy and Cove, Cove.
Right.
Okay, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so tell us, outside of that, who is Donella when you look in the mirror?
Donella is a former people pleaser.
Okay.
Still growing into her new chapter of being a mom, in addition to being a wife with a real man. I'm still growing. I'm a work in progress for sure.
Okay. So today you chose the topic, and if you guys are not aware, when I reached out to some and some reached out to me, I gave them a list of just some starting key points of what we could discuss, but more so, just a place where they feel comfortable. And the one you chose was
generational curses.
Generational curses?
Was it not curses, but generational something? I can't remember.
Generational. Well, let's go with generational curses. Unfortunately, my iPad, which has my notes, is again not working. So we're just gonna flow with it. Okay. So generational curses.
So growing up, I guess I could have been categorized as kind of like the black sheep.
Okay.
I grew up in a very religious home.
Okay.
And a lot of things I was told I just couldn't do. There was no explanation to it. It's just like, you can't do this, you can't do that. So once I became older and I could think for myself better, kind of make my own decisions, I started speaking out a lot. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't good because I wasn't doing what they told me to do. So speaking my mind, kind of going against the grain was not the thing to do back then, because my parents, I love them, but there were things they were telling me to do and wanted me to do that just didn't make sense to me. And I just wanted to understand. And a lot of times I was basically told, do as I say, not as I do. Mm-hmm. And even though I was told, my dad had this phrase, put on your think and do cap. Don't let anyone else think for you. And so I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm doing what you told me to do, but it's a problem. Mm-hmm. So growing up, it was a little difficult as I got older because I started to be very outspoken. And kind of at times, just be quiet. We don't need you to talk right now.
So you mentioned growing up, there were just things that you were told to do without explanation. Right. Okay. So if you could, because we're in the confessional room, what is one of those things that you were told that stuck with you that, if I heard you correctly, you said that you began to question as you got older?
Just the simple things of the religion. Mm-hmm. I grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist. My parents did not, but when my sister was born, they converted from their denominations to a Seventh-day Adventist. And so things like, you can't watch this on TV. I can watch BT and MTV. Don't watch any of those shows. I couldn't go to the football games on Friday evenings. I had to get ready for the Sabbath. Couldn't go over to friends' houses certain time of night. Things like that. And I did it because I was told to do it, but I still at the time didn't understand, why are we doing this? Looking back, I understand the Sabbath now, but the things of, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that, it wasn't explained to me. So it caused me to speak out a lot And I started resenting my parents a little bit, especially my dad, because he had this thing of when he would, I wouldn't say punish me, but just kind of correct me. He had a thing where he would point his finger. And to this day, I'm 40 now. That index finger is a trigger. Like, don't do that to me. I'm still working on that part because it was like, I told you to do this and you did that. And so, yeah. That was one thing that I said I never want to do to my kids is to do something so bad that it triggers them and they have to deal with it in therapy when they grow up.
Well, therapy is a great tool.
It is.
I am pro therapy. Everybody should go to at least 3. And then after 3 sessions, if it's not for you, then don't go. But by that 3rd one, they start unpeeling some things if they're a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so you began to learn what the Sabbath was. And so the pointing of the finger were triggers. So let's talk about that. So triggers, and speaking out. So you first mentioned black sheep. What does that mean?
Kind of like going against the grain. You're not doing what everyone is wanting you to do. Part of the growing up too was I felt like I had to perform to be loved. My dad, I'm trying to think. My dad did not actually say the words, I love you until my 20s. When I was like, hey, you've never said I love you to us. Like, he showed it in the way of financially taking care of us and being, he was a little present. He was always working. He worked a job that had weird hours. So he wasn't able to be as present with me as he was with my sister. So, as I said, like when I was growing up, as things started to be revealed to me, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I have a question about this. I have a question about that. Well, why are you doing this, doing that? Like, you're telling me don't smoke, don't drink, don't do this. But before my sister was born, you did it faithfully. It's like you stopped cold turkey when she was born. She doesn't even know the dad or mom that I grew up with. We really realized that we grew up with a separate set of parents, even though we were in the same household. So, yeah, just not doing everything he wanted me to do, how he wanted me to do it. I do feel like at times I was considered the black. I still feel like I'm behind the black sheep now because I'm a different Donella. And it's not like you can just tell me something and I'm just going to say, okay, I may have a question. You need to answer my question before you want me to do something. So I feel like in that way, I consider the black sheep a little bit.
So I know your son is still in his infancy stage.
Yeah.
So how do you think, well, let's just start here before we even get to the baby. Yeah. How do you think having a father like that, how do you think that affected you in dating? Because I know you're married now to your husband.
My goodness.
But how did that affect you? And then I can't remember quite what you said first, but you alluded that you were different before, you were married and becoming a wife. So how did being raised in a house like that where you have more of a dictator, it sounds like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, more of a dictatorship of a father, and it sounds like your mother was not very vocal. She kind of let him just,
that is correct,
lead the race, which is fine. For each household, it's totally different.
Yeah.
But how did that affect you, knowing that there was something wrong, or feeling, because again, I'm not against any religion, feeling that there's something wrong and wanting to understand why? So how did that affect you when you began to date?
Girl, I wanted to get out. I feel like I was in prison.
Oh.
I wanted to get out. As soon as I was able to graduate and go off to college, I came to UAB. And I was not successful with that first round because I was so focused on I want to get away from my parents. I'm loving this freedom. I'm keeping up my work in school, but I want out. And it led me to dating people that I really didn't need to date. And I think the whole thing was I was trying to find someone to love me, but I was still performing as I was that little girl performing, getting the good grades, coming home, making sure her clothes are clean, doing my homework time I get from school, things like that, doing what they wanted me to do to make sure they were happy. It trickled down into my relationships. So I started doing things that I probably didn't have any business doing just so I could satisfy the person I was with so they wouldn't leave me, so they would be happy. As long as they were happy, I was fine. I could be in the inside broken, damaged, and I was. I think I was. But I was doing everything to perform to make everyone else around me happy. And I dated some horrible people because of that. And it didn't change until I started working on myself. And I didn't even know I needed to work, but I was tired of doing the same old thing. I was tired of wanting love, giving that love and not getting it back.
So what was because I feel like, excuse me, I'm going to kick you. I feel like everybody that has been on here has kind of said the same echo of thing. They just got a place of being tired of the same thing, and they wanted to break that cycle. So with generational curses, we know that they're passed down. And it sounds like, to me, if we got to go back to your mother, she was just so used to doing the same thing. And if this is a religion that was throughout your family, I'm pretty sure it just, trickulated down. However, what was your real breaking point? Like, when did you say, Donella, this is enough? I want out of this cycle.
I think it was in 2009, if I'm not mistaken. I was dating a preacher's son.
Oh, PK.
And we had been dating for a while, and we connected on the Adventist faith and the fact that we were vegetarians. It was weird because for some reason you just didn't hear a lot of people being vegetarian back in the day, So that was pretty cool. But the situation went left real fast. I remember one night we were out for my birthday in Montgomery. I was living in Montgomery at that time. And he got mad at me about something. Oh, I spoke to one of the neighbors and he pulled the gun out.
Wait, neighbors where? At a restaurant?
No, at the apartment complex.
Okay, I'm going to say, okay.
At the apartment complex. And I was like, what is going on with him? He's very territorial. He was so upset with me. I would never forget this. It was my birthday. He left me at the gas station, driving my car, and just left. And I was there for 3 hours until he came back.
This is before Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, and then everything was in the car. So that night started the hitting and things like that. And so at first, I knew what it was, but I had never experienced it. People really didn't talk about it. And it went on for a while. Until when I started thinking about, I want to do something to him. So that's like, okay, Donella, you got to chill.
How long is a while if you had to put a time frame on
it? Maybe almost a year. Almost a year. Because he would do things and then apologize and say, I'm sorry, I love you, it'll never happen again. And then the dumb part of me was thinking, okay, it was a mistake. Maybe it was me. I really did something to piss him off or whatnot, and I deserved it. I started feeling I deserved it. And so it came to a head one day. I locked myself in the bathroom. He had gotten a belt and had hit me so bad. I had welt marks about this big on my back. And he was starting to burn me up in the bathroom at the apartment. But I ran in there because he had pulled a gun out on me. That was the first time, only time in my life I've ever felt the barrel of a gun next to my skin, not knowing if there was a bullet in there or not. He says it wasn't, but I couldn't trust him. So I remember calling the girl who was doing my hair at the time, and I was like, I need you to call the police. Send them to my apartment, please, right now. And the police get there, and he answers the door. And he's like, oh, nothing's wrong. Everything's fine here. I hear everything going on. I'm like, okay, this is my time to get away. So I run out of the bathroom, out of the patio door, and the police see me, and they know immediately something's wrong. And that was the moment I'm like, this will never happen again.
So I know, as a DV survivor as well, I know that a lot of the listeners say, well, if he hit you one time, why didn't you leave then?
I know,
I know my reasons of why I stayed, but what were your reasons for staying?
Because I really started thinking it was me. Because I'm like, okay, his dad is a preacher. He was raised by good people. He's good stock, as they say. He's a good guy. I started just making excuses for him and putting everything off on me. Maybe I wasn't. I'm pretty sure I wasn't a good communicator back then. I'm still working on my communication skills. But I don't know. Like, I guess I just was trying to see the best in him.
Mm-hmm.
This is a weak moment. Maybe, it's not going to happen again. But just when you think it's not going to happen, it happens,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm giving him a second chance. And I really thought the I'm sorry's were sincere.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah, they weren't
looking back in hindsight, we always want to say that, we wanted to look for the best in the person, that they're sincere.
Yeah.
And I have to remember the song Eve, Love is Blind, because when you really love somebody, you want to see the best. But one of my guy friends recently told me that you can't continue to fall in love with the potential, but you have to learn how to love the reality. The healed version of Victoria says, I got it.
Yeah.
But when you're in love, especially, let's go back to your background, when you have a father that was more of a dictator and you were raised in a household where you were told, like, this is the way that it has to be and don't question it. And so then you find a man who you're in love with, or a little boy pretending to be a man, whichever you want to call it. And he's telling you all the things that you want to hear. He's probably pampering you, showering you with gifts and love and affection. And so you mistaken those red flags for green flags. And you like, well, he just did it because he was upset, or he just did it this time because maybe I spoke out of turn. And then you now in hindsight, what the heck you mean speaking out of turn? I'm a whole adult. I can speak when I want to.
Yeah.
But of course, we know that we should have healthy boundaries in there as well. But you got it to the point where you had contemplated, doing something back to him. So that day with the police, did you leave and not come back, or did you come back?
No, I left and we didn't go back.
You didn't go back? Okay. And
that was it.
So how does this fit into generational, you believe?
So, there have been times I've heard my mom say some things about how my dad has treated her, and I've actually witnessed some things as well. She may have forgotten it, but I didn't. I haven't forgotten any of the things I saw. My sister, she wasn't born, so she doesn't know. So it's kind of like my word against, their memories. And then with her mom, my grandma, she was like, I think grandma was maybe 12 when she married my granddad. So her thing was she wanted to get out of her dad's house. And she said it when she told us this some years back. And I was like, I can imagine you want to get out of great granddaddy's house. Like, he was mean. Like, he had a way of loving people, but he was a mean man. I saw him be very mean to my grandmother, my great grandmother. There were times, it gets hot in Alabama, right? So it's like 90 something degrees outside. And one example was they had the window AC units. And so in the heat of the day, he would come in and turn it off and then go sit outside. And I would
say what now, run that back.
Yeah, he would in the heat of the day in the summer, like July, August heat in the South, he would go and turn the AC unit off and go sit outside and smoke his pipe. And so I'm a kid sitting there and I'm hot and I'm just like, wait a minute, did granddaddy really turn off that air and he's going outside? But I can't say anything because I'm a kid, but I'm picking up on this and I'm like, what in the world? And she cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She dealt with the harsh things he said to her. Basically she was kind of like trapped in her house with him, but she loved him. I always say she died of grief. She died because she was in love with him. She died of a broken heart. That's what I want to say. But he was mean. That's just one of the things he would do. But I'm thinking something's not right here. And she wouldn't get up and move it. Like turn it back on. And told me not to do it. Oh, and he would turn the TV off too. Once he was done watching TV, everyone was done watching TV.
Okay, so we have witnessed our grandmother with our great grandmother with our great grandfather. It sounds like he was emotional abusive, and I'm just alluding that he may have been physical because there was some terrifying
Possibly.
that she didn't want to go turn the TV back on, irregardless people were in there.
Yeah.
And then you said your grandmother,
and then my grandmother, their daughter she was ready to get out of the house with them. She just, whoever she could marry to get her out the house, that's what she wanted. And so her and my grandfather got married, but then with them, he had a lot of outside kids. So like he was there financially,
Mhm.
taking care of things, but really wasn't there emotionally or physically because he was gone somewhere else with another lady and another set of kids.
So Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, and I feel like before she died, she held a lot of resentment towards him and just really couldn't vocalize it to anyone, which makes me sad for her because I knew it was something. You could just tell something's going on. Something's been there for a while, but she never talked about it. But we saw, I mean, he had a few kids. Wow.
Okay. And then there comes your mother.
Yeah.
With your dad.
Yeah.
And she had her own issues.
Yeah.
With your father.
Yeah.
It sounds again like a sense of controlling there. Yeah. So there is your great grandparents, your grandparents, your mother, and now you. Mm-hmm. So it was 4 generations of, we could just say, some form of abuse. Because I heard some financial, he paid the bills.
Yeah.
I heard some infidelity there. Mm-hmm. I heard some mental there. And we all know that abuse comes in many forms. It's not always physical. But with you, it became physical with the gentleman in college. Yeah. And so now you're at a place where you're like, the buck stops here. This generation of abuse, somebody has to do it because you now have your own son. Yeah. And so what made you get to that place of saying, yeah, not with mine?
I just want better. I want better. I don't want my kid, I don't want my nieces, my nephews to ever get to the point where they feel like they need to take medicine to go to sleep because they don't want to wake up. Or get to the point where they want to do harm to someone else and then mess up their entire life. Mm-hmm. I don't want it to get to that point. It really stops with me because no one wants to talk about it, but I want to talk about it.
So I remember in one of the books that I helped to spear, If These Walls Could Talk. In our family, especially in our brown community, and no shade to anyone's watching, but we are just told as women that we have to be strong. We have to put on a mask, and you can't go out into the world and tell the world what's going on in this house, because what happens in this house stays in this house. And how dare you address the dirt underneath the rug? Mm-hmm. How dare you say that you want better? This is the way that things have always been. And I think that it's so unfortunate when we get to a place, because you now have 4 generations on your back that you're trying to break curses for, so that your 5th generation, being your son, does not take on the burden. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we talk about it enough. Like, but who told you had to be the strong one?
You know, no one really told me that. But sometimes it feels like also being the oldest daughter who's witnessed so much, I feel like certain things just kind of like fall on us in a sense. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to put it into words, but no one told me to be strong. Sometimes I feel like I just have to be.
But why?
I don't know. It's a feeling. I feel like I have to have it together. I can't break. If I do, I need to break, at home. But when I go in these streets, I have to put my face on. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay. And there are only a few people that when they ask me, how are you doing, Donella? I don't always say okay. It's only a few of them though. But I even noticed it in my friend circle. We always say we're okay, but are we really okay?
That is one of the things that I try to teach, that I've taught my daughter, and I teach every little girl who I meet or people. I said, you're lying. I said, my first question, I said, if I could see it on your face, I said, are you okay? And you say, if I ask you, how are you doing? And you say, I'm okay. And then I ask, are you a liar? And the next response is going to be what? Are you a liar? Donella, are you a liar? No. So why are you telling me there's nothing okay when it's run all over your face?
Yeah.
On top of that, how about we just say, I don't want to talk about it. Let's at least address that there is something going on. But who told you that you had to be fine? Who told you that you had to be okay?
I think it's just a thing because, like, when I didn't talk to my mom, when I had things going on at school when I was younger, like, I wouldn't talk about it. She would try to come in the room, sit on my bed and say, what is it? And I wouldn't talk to her. Even now, I certain things I won't talk to her about because I don't know if she's able to, I wouldn't say necessarily deal with it, but I don't know if she's capable of helping me with it, even just listening. Because sometimes I've said some things and it goes to on a deaf ear.
How do you know?
There's no response, even a delayed response. It's a change of subject.
Mm-hmm. So it's avoidance.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some things that you have done to better yourself so that it does not transfer? Well, even with your marriage.
Yeah.
Because if I'm hearing you correctly, all you have seen, and there are some good moments, because by no means am I saying that all of your generations are, are terrible. But what I am saying, with every generation, there has been some type of trauma. So how did this affect your marriage going into it now? Because how long have you guys been married?
5 years.
5 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that there has been some ups and some downs in it.
Yeah.
So how do you all address that now so that your child will be raised in a healthy environment?
So I did a lot of work on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Up until recently, I did a lot of therapy because I didn't know I had anxiety that was stemming from my childhood. But my husband, we had lots of conversation, lots of conversation. And he's been around my parents, so he kind of understands the vibe, the conversations, the language, the mindset, all that stuff. So that helps a lot too. And he didn't go into meeting them based on the things I said. Mm-hmm. He took it for what he saw. And so there are moments where we've gotten better. He'll say, "You're acting like your mom," or "You're acting like your grandma." And so at first it bothered me, mm-hmm. but I'm like, no, that's him checking me to say, "Hey, Donella, just pay attention to what you're doing because you say you don't want to do the same thing. Let's change this up a little bit."
And see, I think that is super, super dope to correct and love, because I can just see, and even for a split second, and I only met your husband maybe a handful of times.
Yeah.
And so I don't know him personally,
mm-hmm.
but I know from a person listening, how dare he compare her to somebody who he knows has caused her trauma. But the unhealed part of you, I can see why that triggered you, mm-hmm. because you haven't dealt with what that and how that made you feel. Mm-hmm. But now that you're on the other side, the healed side, you're like, okay, I maybe, doing some things that may come off a little agitating.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But that comes with you recognizing who you are and how what you're doing affects the other person.
Right, exactly. So there are a lot of moments I have to catch myself and say, okay, wait, I am, Donella, we're not doing it like this. It's a mindset change for sure, especially when that's all you've known, growing up, So I make a conscious decision every day that I love my mom. I love my grandma. I miss her tremendously. But there's just things that I don't want to do that they did with my son.
Okay. So one of the things that I know I try to do with people that I meet, especially the young children that I educate or glorify babysit, depending on what day it is. Mondays are ours of glorified babysitting. Okay. It's giving our parents grace.
Yeah.
How does that affect? And what I mean by giving them grace, did you ever stop and consider in the middle of it, or now on the other side, now that you feel like you're a more healed version, realize they only did what they knew, and they only did what they knew with the resources in which they had?
Yes, I realized that in the middle of all the healing and all the therapy and things like that. Because, I have to give them grace like I give myself grace.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, when I'm realizing these things and I want to have conversation, we need to talk, and sometimes those conversations, again, they don't go really well because their mindset they don't feel like anything's wrong.
Mm-hmm. So in that moment,
I give a lot of grace.
You have to give a lot of grace.
I give a lot of grace. And I just kind of bow out of that particular subject matter and change it. And I literally pray about it and I journal it. And we'll come back to it another day.
And I think that is so important that you said that. People have to understand that, because sometimes when we know better, or we feel that we know better, because somebody else who may listen like that's just the wrong thing to do. And that's totally fine. Those are your opinions and your thoughts, and you can sit in that and get some therapy. But sometimes we'll never get the answers that we
Yeah.
want. We will never hear an apology for the abuse
Yeah.
that we have. If you do, then that is a rare occasion, because some people truly believe the things that they have done to you were the best thing that they could have done, is the best advice they could have given you.
Yeah.
They showed you more love, because I just had to play both sides, because I'm sure if we take those same stories that you just told us, you can see where each generation tried to do better than the next.
Yeah.
They just did not get to the place in which you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And so with that being said, I just feel like people have to understand that. What do you do when you never get the answers? Or what do you feel like you're going to do for your child if you never get the answers that you need, or the apologies, or at least the acknowledgments that there's something was wrong with your parents?
You have to be okay with not getting it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's gonna hinder you from growing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no point of holding on to they owe me. No, they kind of really don't. You just got to work on you and just pray and allow God to work on them. Who knows? Something may happen in a few years, 20 years from now. I don't know. And it's not like you're being hopeless. You're just giving them the space to be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I have learned to meet people where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I can't force any relationships, even if it's family. I just love people for who they are, and I meet them where they are. And I have to be okay with it, because I'm not losing sleep over this.
So what are the things that you are, I know again that your child is young, but what are the things that you and your husband or Donella is going to do to make sure that once he's able to speak, walk, crawl? Because I believe that you are training up a child from the moment they enter this earth into the moment that hopefully you deceased before they deceased.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to say forever.
Yeah,
but
I need to see all the grandbabies.
All the grandbabies. I want to at least see 3. I want to see 3. That's all I'm asking for. Let me see 3, but not early 3. Like
okay.
Like when lady like 27, 28. You know, I want to be old, but I still want to be at the hospital giving the doctors hell as my great grands are coming in. But what are the things that you're going to do, or that you said, I'm not going to do this, or this, because I know that it's going to make this, or this happen?
I want my son to always know that mom and dad are a safe place for him, that we are not going to judge him, that we're here to love him, and just make sure that he continues to be the best person he can be. He's 9 months. I feel like he's been holding his own bottle since he was maybe like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, he was trying to develop in here.
We are raising him to be very independent and self-sufficient. And when it comes to discipline, he gets discipline now. Because he knows. Okay. Babies know. They know when they're being manipulative. They just know what they can do to get their way. And he is like the cutest little thing, so he knows. But he gets discipline now. He had 2 days of no Gracie's Corner.
At 9 months?
Yes.
That's a little harsh.
We went on vacation and he stayed with my mom and my sister, and we came back. His little attitude was different. I picked up on it. Daycare picked up on it. And we're no screen time for a while.
So you mentioned Grace a couple of times. What does that look like when you're looking for answers? Because we all gone through that. Why did you do this? Why da? And if your mother can never tell you why, what does Grace look like for her?
Just loving her and knowing that she did the best she could with what she knew and how she could do it. I don't feel anything negatively towards her. I just love her. And when certain situations come up, I try to have hard conversations because okay, this could be my opening into talking about whatever. And sometimes I try it, sometimes I don't. But either way, I'm okay. It doesn't affect anything with me. It doesn't make me feel sad. It doesn't upset me. Anything like that. I just still love her.
Just keep on going.
Yeah, just keep on going. You have to, because life is going to keep going. I'm not going to sit here and waste my time and energy trying to change people, because you can't change people. So the only person I can change is myself and how I react to the situations when they come up.
Okay. So if you had to leave the people with anything today, Donella,
okay,
what would that thing be? I'm in the midst of, I want the buck to stop with me. I know that the people in my family have done some things wrong, but I want out of this cycle. What do you tell the people?
I would tell you that it is okay to go against the grain. Just because mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, granddad did something does not mean you have to do it. And it is okay to say, I want something better. I want something different. It's okay. I promise you it's okay.
But
Go ahead.
But what about if they stop talking to me?
It's okay.
But I'm gonna be by myself.
Your people will come to you. My people came to me. I went through a period of time where I didn't communicate with my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
It was months. And people were telling me, oh, it's your mom and your dad. You're supposed to talk to them. No. No. Mm-mm. If they can't see what they're doing, like, no, this is not. No. And at the time, I didn't know it was toxic, right? Toxic wasn't even in my vocabulary or whatever. But I did talk to my sister. I would email her every other day. It was like writing in my journal. But I didn't talk to my parents.
And why do you think that was so important, though?
Because when you give yourself space to be away from people that, and I hate to say it like this, but for people who aren't good for your mental, you allow yourself to cleanse yourself of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to have fresh eyes. You don't have like the rose colored glasses on. You can see things for what they really are. Because once you're constantly with them and around them, you're influenced by everything they do and say. But just getting that time to be away. I don't care if it's for a day. I don't care if it's for a weekend. Go off by yourself somewhere. Get you a journal. Get you a bottle of water. And just write your thoughts out. Write what happened this week. If something is off, go and fix it for the next week.
Okay, so you've mentioned journaling a couple of times.
Yeah.
What do you feel like journaling did for you?
Journaling allowed me to share my thoughts and my feelings without being judged.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were people I felt like I could talk to, but really I couldn't trust them with my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So journaling is kind of like a breath of fresh air. I can just let loose. My journal gets the real me all the time.
So journaling was one of the things. Therapy has been a thing for you.
Yes.
Creating that safe space between you and your husband, setting those healthy boundaries with your family. Where's your relationship now, you and your mother and your father?
So since having my son, things have gotten better. We still have we have small cases where things may come up and it kind of brings me back to childhood or something in my early young adult life. But I get to choose whether I want to address it or not. I get to choose if I allow it to bother me or hinder me. So that's freeing in itself because it doesn't hold me down. It doesn't make me sad. I allow myself to be vocal. Whether they want to hear it or not, I'll still say it, you know. But I love them. We're good. We're on a good path right now.
On a good path. Okay. So is there anything else that you want to leave the people with?
It's okay to be yourself, to have your own thought process outside of what your family has done for so long. I'm living proof it's okay. Like, they're not going to disown you. They're not going to leave you by the wayside. They may not talk to you for a while, but it's okay. You need that time to be away from them. You need your time in your space, in your own thoughts, and use therapy. If you can't afford therapy, I'm telling you, go to the Dollar Tree, $1.25 store and get you a journal and a pen and paper and just start writing.
So is it better to write it out, pen and paper, or can I type it out?
So it's up to you. It's whatever you want to do. It's your journey, right? But I just feel like it's something that's so therapeutic with like getting the paper and just writing it. You're saying your words, your feelings in your handwriting. You know, one day you may want to go back to that after you have healed a lot, right? And you go back and see like, wow, this is what I was doing in 2025. This is what I was working on. And I mean, you have a daughter, like I have a friend of mine, she is 100% journaler like me. And her daughter asked for her journals. She's like, I want to see my mom. And she knows her mom writes everything in her journals. And so that's been a very sweet gift to her. Every few months or so, she'll give her a couple journals to read. And it's a super vulnerable moment because you put a lot of stuff in your journals, right? That you really don't want people to know about. But her daughter wants to learn and know, like, what made my mom who she is.
Mm-hmm. That's deep.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. And she's been reading them.
Has it drawn them closer?
It has. It has, because she is the daughter. She is very strong-willed, like her dad. I said it would take a special gentleman to marry her. I think she may have found the guy, so fingers crossed on that. Well, he's found her. Fingers crossed on that. But she's very strong-willed and determined, and she is not influenced easily. So, and then her mom on the other side, they're kind of like day and night a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they butt heads quite often. But now she's seeing another side of her mom, to see like the things her mom has gone through that she just doesn't talk about a lot to people. Certain things her mom talks about, but not all the things,
Absolutely.
right? And so she's able to see the softer side of her mom. So it's been interesting to watch.
That is good. I love that. And I love that the daughter has taken the initiative so she can see. Mm-hmm. Because I'm sure there are some things with your friend that, you know, the daughter is like, no, that ain't no going to be. And that's more like an 8 to a 1.
Right.
And so to understand and to learn our parents on a deeper level, if we have the opportunity, it's such a blessing. Mm-hmm. It is such a blessing to see what they went through and them being open to it.
Right.
Because unfortunately, some of us don't have parents who are open to sharing their why of what they did. Yeah. Because, you know, they could either be ashamed, embarrassed, they may have guilt. Mm-hmm. And so those are things like we have to go back to grace. I think grace is a major factor that when we know better, we have to choose to do better.
Right.
And not just for us, for the people who come after us. Mm-hmm. So that takes us to our 3 A's: acknowledge, accept, and affirm. So you have to acknowledge, no matter what you do in life, you have to acknowledge that you have an issue. So many of us just be like, oh, I'm fine, I can move forward. But in my mind, my thought process, we have to acknowledge. We have to acknowledge the things of our past, that they happened. And then we have to accept them. There's absolutely nothing that we can do, Donella, about, you know, the generations that you had before you. And you have to accept that. But in that acceptance, one thing that I have done, that you share, that you have done, is that we have to affirm ourselves that we are deserving of a better future. And not at any moment are we saying that our parents did not try to do this, but we know that because we know better, we're doing better, we're taking a stride to go to therapy, we're praying, we're seeking God, we're doing all those things to feed not only our mental, but our spiritual, our physical, and our emotional, because we have children and we don't want them to endure the things that we had to endure to get to this place, right? And so we may not always get it right as parents, but at least we're acknowledging that the stuff that happened back then, we're not going for that in 2025 and beyond, because our children deserve to have healthy mental parents that they can come to, that there's a safe space. So no matter what you go through in life, just know the things have happened. They have shaped you into the beautiful person and where you are now. And although there may be things that you want to change about yourself, your imperfections make you perfect. And because of that, knowing that those things have happened, you're deserving of a better, brighter future. You have to know that. And so the question that I want to leave you guys with today, if you don't change your behavior, then who's going to change their behavior for you? Or something like that. You get where I'm going? Something like that. Yeah. So are you going to change? Are you going to conform to what others say that you have to become? I don't know. Are you?